Super Tuesday presented by KFC continues in Assembly Hall. And tonight they're going to honor Lou Henson. It's his 80th birthday. He's in the house. They're going to put his name up in the rafters as well. And Illinois trying to use all that energy to upset the highest-ranked team in the Big Ten, Ohio State. Mike Tirico with Dan Dockett. Dan, you saw Indiana beat Ohio State. Since then, the Buckeyes 2-0 in conference, and they've won by 29 and 31. What's been different?
Well, I think the loss to Indiana woke them up. Thad Matta, even after a win, 29-point win at Iowa, had a 45-minute film session showing the negative. Now, he normally doesn't do that. He needs to make this team more mature, and he's doing it by showing the negative. Second thing for Ohio State, Jared Sullinger's back to playing the way he did before the injury. Player of the week in the Big Ten, 29 points on the road. Terrific week for Jared Sullinger.
All right, let's talk about Sullinger and the one-on-one. Our two centers, two sophomores, the leaders and stars of these teams.
Well, we talked about Sullinger. Look for Jared Sullinger to do his work on the block. He has developed a jump shot, but he's going to go right at Myers Leonard. Myers Leonard, a kid, averaged 2 points a game last year. Now he's up over 12. A lot of concern that he drifts out to the perimeter too much. He's going to go down on the block as well. Should be a great battle.
And let's check our starting lineups here tonight. It'll be Lenzel Smith and Aaron Kraft. Kraft, a terrific guard, does so much for the Buckeyes. With William Buford, Deshaun Thomas, and as mentioned, reigning Big Ten Player of the Week, Jared Sullinger. Big time for Illinois coming into this game, 14-3, 3-1 in the conference. With the injury to Maniscalco, it'll essentially be four guards: Abrams, Paul, Bertrand. Great game the last time out. DJ Richardson to go with the aforementioned Myers Leonard. And there he is, Lou Henson, 80th birthday today. Many of his Illinois great players on hand. They'll honor Lou at halftime, putting his name with the honored coaches in the rafters here at Assembly Hall. Ted Valentine, Mike Hitz with plenty of Final Four experience, and Gerald Williams, third-year official, will toss it between Sullinger and Leonard. And off we go from Champaign. It starts with the Illini. An Illinois team coming off a win over Nebraska by 5, but in that game they were booed at home with their offense, and on cue a turnover as Paul was trying to feed Leonard inside.
Well, that's going to be the plan, get the ball into Myers Leonard, but Paul didn't take his time. He kind of caught it and looked it to the block. Myers Leonard is going to be able to get position. The post feeder has to be patient and just deliver the ball. Don't worry about how it gets there, just deliver it.
The Iowa game for Ohio State, 76-47. Beat Nebraska by 31 before that. First shot of the night missed by Sullinger, and back come the Illini with Paul. DJ Richardson, he has a little tape on that right wrist. He could barely shoot against Nebraska over the weekend. Here's Leonard inside, up strong for the first basket.
We talked about it in the open. Big point of emphasis for Illinois is Myers Leonard staying on the block, not drifting to the top of the key, not ball screening and popping, going on the block, going right at Jared Sullinger.
Classes don't start for a week, so most of the students not here tonight would have added to the electric atmosphere with number 5 in the country in for their visit. So Smith drives inside, and the whistle, and it's no basket and foul on the Illini. There's Thad Matta, coach of Ohio State, talked about that youth that his team has, which was the storyline off the players they lost last year, but starting to see the maturity develop as we've gone through these last couple of games.
You know, there's youth and then there's immaturity. Sometimes young teams can be mature. He feels like this is a very immature team that needs to grow up.
Tracy Abrams picked up that first foul for Illinois. The outstanding guard, Aaron Kraft, off the mark and a rebound for Brandon Paul. So what's Illinois lose here without Maniscalco, the really graduate student who played at Bradley and then transferred here to earn his master's?
Well, they lose real toughness first and foremost, and they lose a guy that in transition makes the right play the majority of the time.
Paul does a nice job there, knock it out of bounds and keep it down here with Illinois. Sam Maniscalco from Chicago has been a real big addition to this team. Had a huge game against Maryland earlier in the year.
Well, Mike, I went to practice in the preseason, and it was obvious who ran the team. I mean, Maniscalco was a kid that is a fifth-year transfer student from Bradley, came under the new rule. But immediately with this team, his toughness, his determination to help others was evident.
Bertrand lucky got that tip. It'll stay down here with 13 to shoot for Bruce Weber's team. Bruce was reminding everyone to have some patience. It's a lot of youth, a lot of guys playing positions they haven't played before. Leonard inside, couldn't convert. And back the other way, Smith pushes with Buford. What a block by Richardson at the top. Rim that out. Leonard kept it alive, and Sullinger was holding him. Good job here by Illinois out of the gate.
In transition, you see a really nice move by William Buford, but out of nowhere, here comes Brandon Paul. And these are the plays, my opinion. Brandon Paul is an all-league type talent. His shooting numbers are bad in the 30s. He needs to do more things like that. Just play like an athlete. Make things happen.
Paul's the top returning scorer on this team. He's short on that three, and on the leak out, here goes Deshaun Thomas. Paul back defensively. It's a good idea when you miss a shot the way he did. This drive by Buford gets the Buckeyes on the board, 2.5 in.
Yeah, two good moves by Buford going to the rim. First one got blocked. Buford started 0 for 10. Was 3 of 14 against Iowa. When you're struggling shooting, just go to the rim. Buford, the senior, he knows that.
Joe Bertrand, too, with his back to you and now with the ball. His ability to drive, get to the basket, and score has really kept this team alive and got them to win over Nebraska this weekend.
Yeah, he's a former point guard, Bertrand, who just knows how to play. And he's one of those guys that will be scoring points when he's 50 years old playing in the CYO league.
Sided Smith. He's off the mark, and Paul gets the rebound. It's a Buckeye team shooting making about 5 threes a game, shooting 33% on the season. Thad Matta wanted to travel, said the pivot foot was switched, and Mike Kitts, see, is he convinced for Bruce Weber was trying to get timeout? But I think Mike had to travel first.
Well, he switched them, then Mike Kitts looked down, got the magnifying glass out, and decided, all right, you switched him again. That's too much travel.
I thought I saw it. I know I saw it. It's a walk.
Well, if you're Abram, you did it once, you know you did it. Don't do it twice.
Thomas on the turn. Sean Thomas able to knock that down. He's averaging nearly 15 points a game.
Well, he's made great improvement. Last year, game was going down the stretch, and Sean Thomas hit his first 2 threes of the year to open it up.
That was good defense by Sullinger to deny Leonard inside, and here comes Ohio State after scoring the last 4. They'll go right to their stud sophomore. The baseline move and a great help defensively. Second block for Paul, who gets the rebound on this end. He's been very active in the start. Illinois 1 of 6, and somebody find the basket. Bertrand will try, and there is a knockdown. You can see a little bit of where they missed Maniscalco. They're just unsettled. Doesn't look like anybody knows exactly what their role is on the offensive end.
When you watch Illinois over the years with Paul and Richardson, they're on the wings. Now you watch him. Richardson's on the wing. Paul's on top. Paul in this game is going to have to be a driver. He's going to have to decide, look, I'm going to go to the rim. He's been very active defensively, playing athletically, but offensively, stands and shoots too much. Needs to go to the rim.
Thomas worked his way inside into the paint. Gives the Buckeyes the lead.
Mike, I'm going to date myself a little bit here, but Deshaun Thomas reminds me of the late, great Raymond Tisdale. He just can go down on the block, get the ball to hit the rim 4 or 5 times, knock it in, step out, shoot the ball. He just knows how to get the ball in a basket.
Stepping into the passing lane is Buford. Took the 4th turnover for Illinois and made it an 8-4 Ohio State lead.
Well, a couple other things. You mentioned Maniscalco doesn't turn the ball over and gets them into offense after bad possessions. And when you're not used to being a point guard, as Abrams isn't, that's sometimes very difficult to do.
Myers Leonard has some range from the outside, maybe not that far out. He's taken a couple of threes this year. And again, more miscommunication, nearly a 5th turnover. Shot clock at 10. Tracy Abrams finds Leonard. Was off all the way.
Mike, Leonard looks great tonight, I think, on the block. They haven't post-fed him the ball very well at all. They've made some mistakes with that. He cannot go drifting out.
That was a bad entry pass by Smith. First Ohio State turnover. On the move, it's Paul. So good Ohio State defensive team. And Illinois not getting anything easy in the first 6 minutes. 8-4 Buckeyes on the road in Champaign.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by KFC. Bring something different to the party with KFC sauceless hot wings. Now just 50 cents each.
Well, back in Champaign, we mentioned it is the 80th birthday for Lou Henson. And just a moment ago, the fans here at Assembly Hall, a little serenade of happy birthday to the legendary coach. Very nice touch. Lou Henson around the program throughout the year, going back to his years, Dan. 21 terrific seasons as the head coach here in Champaign.
I was fortunate to be in the Big Ten both as a player and assistant coach when he was coaching here, and everybody in the league had respect. I always felt like he was a very underrated basketball coach. When you played against his teams or you scouted his teams, they were incredibly well prepared. You see his wife Mary, who has been by his side, his staunchest defender for years and years and years.
Illinois is going to honor their, quote, honored coaches. A couple of criteria: win 65% of your games, 8 years here, win a Big Ten championship, or take a team to the Final Four. Henson did that in '89 as Leonard is fouled inside. Deshaun Thomas had him and he got the foul. And you're not an active coach. If you achieve all those criteria, you will get honored with your name put up here. There are 3 others along with Lou Henson, and he'll be the first one to have his name put up, and that'll happen at halftime of this game here tonight. Let's go back to Leonard. Dan's liked the way he's looked so far. One-on-one on fellow sophomore Sullinger. Bertrand gave it right back to him. Couldn't get the bounce to go. Struggled shooting for Illinois. 2 of 9 to start here tonight.
Yeah, but if Illinois starts playing that way inside out, they're going to get great looks. Get great looks, you'll make them.
Kraft is short on his leaner, and Paul the other way.
And that's where the absence of a true point guard, Mike, just kills you with possessions.
Kraft to the basket. Extends the Ohio State lead to a half dozen. 6 in a row for Ohio State. Let's see if Illinois can get organized on this end.
Well, they need to play inside out. Cross screen, ball screen, dive, whatever they need to do to move Sullinger a little bit and end up getting Myers-Leonard on the block, not out on the perimeter.
Off the curl, Paul banks it in for 2.
Banks it in, walk backwards like that's exactly what he planned to do.
I don't think it was.
I don't either.
No.
And if it was, what are you doing?
Stops the 6-0 run. Mike Henry, one of the freshmen, very talented freshman group for Bruce Weber. And Illinois, Henry 20 checked in the game. For Marcus Thomas, rebounded by Leonard. It's an Illinois team that has lost 3 times during the year. UNLV, Missouri among those losses. In the non-conference season, the big comeback in their annual bragging rights battle with Missouri and St. Louis came up just short. Richardson from the outside. There's a knockdown of 3 for Richardson. That's his 42nd made 3 of the year.
You said it, against Nebraska, he could not catch a ball. He made a layup, which was a shot put. Trainer did a terrific job getting him ready because he looked very good today and shoot-around looked very good on that jump shot.
5 in a row, Illinois. Students were here, you'd hear a little more noise in these situations. Sullinger working one-on-one, the spin on Leonard, and good help defense as Thomas went up. He was fouled. Joe Bertrand, nice job in the help defense to provide Sullinger a little problem there. Well, we're coming up on Martin Luther King Day. There's a tie to the Martin Luther King Memorial in D.C. to Illinois. We'll tell you when we come back. 8 of Ohio State's 10 points in the paint. They lead Illinois by 1. With Martin Luther King Jr. Day coming up here in a week or so, we asked this question about the MLK Memorial in Washington, D.C. The tie to Illinois is the designer, architect Ed Jackson Jr. Illinois class of 73. The memorial stands on the northwest bank of the Tidal Basin in Washington, D.C. It's the only memorial there on the National Mall not dedicated to a president. It's one of the Illinois ties, a great architect, Ed Jackson Jr., the designer of that. 1-point game, 11:42 to go here. It's a big college basketball week. Now that the football is in the book, all the fans can turn their attention to the hardwood for the next couple of months. We have Wisconsin and Purdue out of the Big Ten to start our Thursday night showcase, and then Virginia And the very good defense they're playing, taking on Seth Curry, Plumlee's, and Duke. That's our lineup on ESPN Thursday night.
Mike, I think Purdue and Michigan are the two most interesting teams in the Big Ten. They're the two teams that can beat anybody in the Big Ten, and they're the two teams, in my opinion, that can lose to anybody in the Big Ten, given their styles. You know, Purdue will play you close to the vest. Michigan, without great athletic ability. Burke is really good, Hardaway the same. But if they're not shooting it, they can lose to anybody. Two very good teams that can go both ways.
We're going to see Michigan play Michigan State 1 week from tonight in Ann Arbor. Speaking of Michigan State, 95-61. They beat Iowa soundly in East Lansing earlier tonight.
I think you give Tom Izzo a terrific point guard. He has great success. And Keith Appling has improved immeasurably since Midnight Madness. I was lucky enough to be there, and I'm just stunned at his comfort level now.
Off the curl, Bertrand knocks it down. It's a lot of what he did to win that Nebraska game over the weekend in here. And the Buckeye lead back down to 1. That last free throw, Sam Thompson, the super leaper. And J.D. Weatherspoon, equally as athletic and adept in the Buckeye lineup. Good deep catch by Sullinger. Over Leonard gets it.
Well, Leonard didn't do his work early. What that means is when Sullinger's coming down to the foul line, you've got to bump him, you've got to bang him, you've got to get his heels out of the paint. You give Sullinger room, you put his heels in the paint, it is over.
Leonard 7-1 now, trying to do the same thing to Sullinger. Got his heels in the paint, got the dunk.
He did, and I'm telling you, Myers Leonard is ready to play tonight. Got beat on the defensive end instead of sulking or acting immature. He got determined on the offensive end, and his teammates were smart enough to reverse the ball and throw him the ball.
I was talking to him before the game, Dan. This is all new, all the attention he's getting from the Big Ten, from the defenders. There he is inside with good defense on his own right to keep Weatherspoon out of the basket. And it is Illinois ball. So it starts with the defense from Leonard.
Well, you talk about the attention that Leonard's getting. It's also getting it from NBA people who are texting and talking. Look at right here. Leonard just allows Sullinger to walk down the lane and set up. You see his right foot is in the lane. You let him do that. You have now two heels are in the lane. It is over when that happens. You do your work early. That is a terrible post speed right there.
Bertrand with another one. That's 6 turnovers. Absence of a pure point killing Illinois tonight. William Buford missed a 3, but the great athleticism of Thompson keeps it alive. Kraft off the mark. Buford a third try. That's the second time in a row they got 3 shots at it.
It's the biggest concern of a 4-guard lineup. I know that talking to Bruce Weber, he wants to play, doesn't really have a 4-man that can go rebound. And that's the biggest concern, offensive glass.
Plenty of time on the shot clock. Leonard sets the screen. It's at 14. Tracy Abrams says, look at Leonard. He set the screen outside the arc and hauled butt to the basket to get the putback.
He didn't deserve a basket, though. He's drifted on the perimeter, hung out on the perimeter, found himself in the lane, and bigger and stronger, and just went over Sullinger.
You were right on it, Dan, right from the start as Kraft gets in the lane. And he finally gets one to go. Ohio State shooting 30%, struggling a little bit, but you were on it right from the start. Leonard had that look tonight that you liked. The 7-footer came ready to play. Buford diving, saves it. What a great play. Here's Kraft. Good defensive recovery by Illinois. And Sullinger, who's added that part to his terrific game.
There's your point guard, Kraft.
Yeah.
He took his time. He's been in that situation with the ball open floor. Instead of panicking, throwing up something, he found the open man, Sullinger. Big difference between Illinois and Ohio State point guard play.
On the run off the glass, Richardson can't get it to go. That's the man we're talking about, Maniscalco, who is the injured point guard, left ankle injury. Sullinger steps out, knocks down a 3, and all of a sudden, from a 1-point game, Ohio State extends it to an 8-point lead.
Well, once again, Aaron Kraft was harassed down the floor, went behind his back, but because he's been in that situation since he was 2 years old, probably, he just brought it down, found the reverse guy. In that case, it was Sullinger. You know, one of the things that I kind of liked last couple possessions for Illinois is DJ Richardson going to the basket. I know he missed, but Illinois, Paul Richardson, they've got to go to the basket. Well, you see the calmness. Kraft just brings it down, doesn't over-penetrate because he's been in that situation. And there's your difference in point guard play. Ball dribbled off a foot, hustled by Buford. But again, Kraft taking his time, finds the open man. Seems simple, but if you haven't been doing it for a long time, not so easy.
Well, Dan, let's talk about the difference in our two stars that you had in the one-on-one there at the beginning. Here's Sullinger, freshman of the year. The question was, is he going to go right to the NBA? And whether it was what he said to Thad Matta, I'm going to be here for 2 years, or the second thought of the lockout and the NBA issues. He comes back. You see the polish in his game even growing. Meantime, it's Leonard on the other side, a player who only scored about a point or so a game, played with one of the USA teams overseas this year, and got to mature in his game, and he's really had a breakout first 2 months of the season.
He has. You know, he's a guy I was talking to a couple NBA scouts earlier. He's a potential lottery pick. He's 7 feet tall. He's athletic. He has a good stroke. I personally think he needs to stay at least another year, get mature, figure everything out. But, you know, that's the kind of ability that Leonard has. He just does this too much right here. He just drifts on the perimeter too much against the wishes of everybody in the Illinois program, including the fans.
Brandon Paul on the drive, a lot of contact. He knocked down Kraft, he knocked down the shot to stop the run. 7-0 it was.
If Illinois is going to win the game, Paul and Richardson are going to scrap the jump shot and go to the rim.
Sullinger getting a break here. We're under 8 minutes, have a TV timeout coming up. Evan Ravenel, transfer from Boston College in the lineup. He's 30 with his back to you. Shot clock at 12. Look at Kraft sneaking in there. But again, the presence of the 7-footer. Look at the rim run by Leonard. Blocked on one side. Here he comes to get position. But it's going up from Paul. Got the 3 to roll in. Nice response. 5 in a row from the Illini. Bring their fans to their feet. Ravenel coming baseline. Ball the other way. Illinois chance to quickly erase an 8-point deficit with a 3 to tie the game. The fans wanted the bump on Ravenel. Here's the 3 for the tie. There it is by Paul. All even at 23, just like that. Buford lost it on the way in. Richardson the push. Abrams, tough pass in traffic. Again.
That's just the calmness that Abrams doesn't have because he hasn't been a point guard.
And Kraft couldn't silence him. That foul on Griffey. Let's see. That foul's going to be on Ohio State. I thought they were going to get Griffey, Tyler Griffey for Illinois.
Well, like I said earlier, for Illinois to win, Paul and Richardson have got to shoot a ton of threes. Isn't that what I said?
You did. You were right.
No, I wasn't.
Okay, Carl, see you and Doug Gottlieb coming up at halftime and at the Kansas State-Baylor game. Both teams shooting around 50%. Baylor, Murray State, and Syracuse, the 3 unbeatens left. As we've hit the second week in January, 3rd week of conference play. Only unbeaten within this conference is Michigan State. They had a handy win over Iowa earlier tonight.
You know, I don't think there's been a better leader in college basketball than Draymond Green. I've been fortunate to do a few of their games, and he talks to everybody on the court. He's just really taken what Tom Izzo wants and ran with it.
Can't wait to get to Ann Arbor next week for that game. Michigan State, and Illinois takes the lead. It's 10-0 on the run, and Brandon Paul getting hot from the outside has flipped this game suddenly down.
He's the guy. I mean, he's an all-league guy who has played off and on. But when he is on, he's as good and as talented as anybody in this league.
Sullinger back in for Ohio State, and Thomas went right to the basket, and Deshaun knocks it down.
You can't let Thomas go to his right shoulder on the block. Left-handed kid going to his right shoulder gets him into the lane on that block. The scouting report 100% says make him go left shoulder. They missed the scouting report. It's a bucket.
First time Myers Leonard is out for Illinois. Bertrand on the drive.
Yes, he's playing with confidence.
It really is. Wow. Really is.
It's a kid averaging 15 points over his last 6 games. And Has had 2 stretches, one where he made 13 shots in a row, another where he made 12 in a row.
So he's had a 9 for 9 game this year. He's had an 11 of 12 shooting game this year. Thomas steps out, and he's showing you everything he has as well.
He's been scoring since the cradle. I mean, he's 3rd all-time leading scorer in the state of Indiana, and he's just a guy that's built to score. He goes to the offensive board because he wants to score.
Came out as Mr. Basketball out of the state of Indiana a couple of years ago. Good shooting for Illinois, 57% here on the game. Richardson is the 3. Tipped out to William Buford. Kraft coming with him. On the chase down, Bertrand is bumped for the foul called on Ohio State. The under 4 timeout arrives. Tight one here in Champaign.
Mike, this is very subtle. You see Brandon Paul right here in transition. He's going to sprint back all the way back to the rim, and then he's going to contest the jump shot. So many times you see kids backpedal, then they get beat or they foul. That is huge in this game for Illinois because Ohio State loves to get out and run, and they make their runs against you by transition offense.
And you like their defense overall tonight. The Buckeyes are shooting 12 of 30 from the field. Bertrand couldn't get it to Myers Leonard, who's working hard on Sullinger, has some position, and knocks it down.
Now, that time he deserved the basket because he worked the left block, worked the middle. They couldn't feed it to him. Finally went back to the left block, got the ball to him. He is playing with a tremendous amount of confidence. For him, he just can't drift out to the perimeter in this game.
And let's credit Illinois for getting the ball into him.
Right. Missed him twice, got it in the 3rd time.
Sullinger tries to respond. He got bumped on the way. Give him the basket and the foul. Brandon Paul bumped him going up for the shot and a chance for a 3-point play. We're talking about the NBA and NBA action tomorrow night on ESPN. You'll have Dallas taking on Boston, and then it's going to be a very exciting game. All the talent in the Lob City with the Clippers taking on LeBron, Dwayne Wade. I think they'll have a lob or 2 in them as well. So it's a doubleheader from Boston and LA tomorrow night.
Can you make the point that LeBron James and Blake Griffin, when you combine size, strength, speed, are the 2 best athletes in the world? I mean, size, strength, jumping ability. I mean, those guys are huge. You know that better than I do.
On the spot, very hard to answer the question. Thank you.
In the world.
Maybe people will blow up your Twitter feed at Dan Dockich and give you their responses to it.
Well, if they're not, I want to hear who's a better athlete than those guys in terms of what I said.
Even with Wade banged up, still LeBron and company visiting the Clippers coming up that NBA doubleheader tomorrow night. Ohio State by 2. The shot clock is at 5. Richardson's in some trouble, going to have to hoist. That's a shot clock violation on Illinois. You credit Ohio State's defense there. That's been part of their equation, defense, but Illinois' defense maybe is what's been the surprising part of this game so far.
Particularly their help side defense. You saw the block where Paul came in earlier from help side, but Myers Leonard has been terrific. The other thing to watch down here, when Myers Leonard gets into help, he hasn't gone up to block any shots. Let's see if he does as we move forward in this game. There we go.
Right out to the perimeter by Sullinger, who rattles in a 3.
Mark Jackson used to say, right?
Hand down.
Good defense, better offense.
That one, too.
The hand was up there from Leonard. That's a big hand. Sullinger just lifted up.
Sullinger had 5 made 3-pointers on 18 attempts coming in. 2 tonight before that shot. That guy's more likely to stroke the 3. What a big half it has been for Brandon Paul.
You know what I like about Brandon Paul, Mike? He is knocking it in and just getting back on defense. It's like he's expecting himself to do that tonight. His reaction after a good play is terrific.
Well, don't you like that? You got the number 5 team in the country coming into your building and heating up as Lenzel Smith knocks down his outside 3, and Ohio State's up 5. So you know you have to come in with a big game here tonight from your best players, and Paul and Leonard are giving Illinois a good first half and a chance. This is going to stay down here with the Illini.
But I don't like where Leonard is right now. Like Lenzel Smith, you see there, he's a 52% shooter, but right there, Leonard is at the top of the key. I don't like that in this game. There has been nothing good happen with him at the top of the key, including right there inbounding the ball.
Richardson got trapped and put himself over the sideline, so it's Ohio State ball. That's 10 turnovers for Illinois. They average 14 a game.
That was a coach ready to implode out there, Bruce Weber. You can just tell by the lips how pursed the lips were.
Kraft on the pull-up, using the window, and all part of that complete game that he has.
He really does, and when he gets making jump shots like that, it makes Ohio State as good a team as there is in the country.
This is where Ohio State is very good, too. Closing out halves. Good defense in the deflection by Smith. Richardson recaptures. But how about the quick hands and the athleticism of Sam Thompson to knock it away?
Yeah, and well coached. Smith Jr. went with the proper hand to make the steal on Richardson, and then Sam Thompson went with the inside hand, which is the proper hand to get the deflection. Not only are they quick, athletic, but well schooled in the fundamentals of defensive play.
See very few free throw attempts, very few fouls here in this first half as we're in the final minute.
This has been the best half of officiating of any game that I've done this year. They've let kids play in this game.
Two Buckeyes come to Bertrand. He knocked it down anyway. And I should have included him. I was talking about Leonard and Paul and guys who came to play for the Illini here tonight. Plug pulled on the shot clock. Final half minute. Fouls to give. So Richardson can be aggressive if he so chooses defensively. And the use it or lose it timeout taken by Thad Matta with 26 seconds to go. Oh, earlier we talked about the undefeated teams and Baylor in action. Carl Ravitch, Doug Gottlieb going to have an update on that coming up in a moment at halftime. And then you'll see Syracuse, #1 in the country, in Philadelphia, where a couple of their stars, Tion Waiters and Scoop Jardine, call home. So Syracuse, Villanova, then Texas A&M, Texas. That's ESPN2 tomorrow night. You know, all those games available on the Watch ESPN app as well. How about our one-on-one update, Dan?
Well, it's been two guys really going at each other. And Myers Leonard has not backed down from Jared Sullinger. You see him right there. He takes Jared Sullinger in the block, on the paint, in the block, and just goes at him. And Leonard here was bad defense. This was just really bad defense because you can't let Jared Sullinger get 2 feet in the lane. When he gets 2 feet in the lane, it's over. Sullinger with 13, 3 rebounds. Leonard with 8 and 3 rebounds. But I don't think the 8 and 3 tells the full story of Myers Leonard. He's been terrific in terms of defense from the help side, and he's been determined, which I think brings comfort to the rest of his teammates.
And I want you to go back to the headline point, because you talk about Myles Leonard's NBA potential ability, Jared Sullinger's known NBA talents. Let's remind everybody that Leonard was really nowhere last year in the Big Ten. I know Illinois fans know that, and Big Ten fans, but folks nationally have to realize this guy is just getting used to being the focal point of a scouting report. Welcome to the conference play. When you are the guy we're coming in to shut down, it's a whole different world changing for him day after day here in the Big Ten.
Mike, when you go from the bottom of the scouting report to the top of the scouting report in this league, because there isn't a league in the country that does a better job of scouting than the Big Ten. It's really difficult. What I like about Leonard, or actually what I love about Leonard today, this is a big game. This is a really big game against a top-tier opponent, against an All-American, and all Myers Leonard has done is compete like crazy in this game. That says a lot about him.
The officials, Mike Hitz and Ted Valentine, are over at the monitor. They want to check the clock situation here. Make sure that we shouldn't have had the shot clock turned off here in the final seconds.
Well, going back to that shot, though, Joe Bertrand, when he shot it, put his hands in his pockets, you know, like Allen Iverson would do from outside. That's Joe Bertrand doing that. That tells you the confidence the kid has.
Get the clock continuing to run after that made basket here in the last minute of the half. So two guys with plenty of Final Four experience. As a matter of fact, Teddy Valentine's worked 6 Final Fours. Mike Hitz 4 Final Fours. They'll get this organized and sorted out in terms of the clock. You know, the Big Ten standings show a bunch of teams with 1 losses behind Michigan State within the league very early in the piece here, and Illinois is in that group. But as the officials need to see this one more time to watch where the clock should be as they reset it.
Well, you know, people have complained around here. They booed Illinois in their game with Nebraska.
Right.
You can complain, Mike, about anything you want, as long as you're not complaining about losses when you're a coach. Complain about our offense, complain about our defense, whatever you want, but they're 14-3, and this is a big game.
And you look at the standings and all the one-loss teams, Michigan State getting the victory, really the 3rd week of conference play starting here tonight. Ohio State, Indiana, and we've seen how great Indiana's played. We have 3 Big Ten teams in the top 10, 4 in the top 13, and then an Illinois-Purdue group there, and on down. And boy, Iowa, Ray McCaffrey's team getting cleaned out back-to-back games. Won by Ohio State and tonight by Michigan State. But that's kind of the way you had a feeling the league would shake out here through the first part of the season up at the top.
Well, Indiana's played really well. And I said before the Kentucky game that Indiana beating Kentucky wouldn't be an upset. We got absolutely drilled by it. But this is a really good team. This is a tough team in Indiana. But so is Ohio State. And I do believe that Ohio State losing to Indiana refocused that group. I had a chance to talk to Aaron Kraft sitting on the bench here before the game, and that's all he talked about. He said, you know, we've got guys that are now playing for each other. We've got guys that understand if we don't, we're going to get beat. And he made a great point, Mike. Aaron Kraft, sophomore point guard, said, isn't it stupid to learn from losing? Why couldn't we just be smart enough to learn from winning? But human nature, you learn from losing.
But you appreciate that. It's very lengthy delay to get the clock sorted out, but the guy's going to make sure that the time and the amount of possession is right, because you also had a timeout called by Thad Matta that has to factor into the equation of where the clocks get reset properly to. But back to your point on Ohio State off of their loss on New Year's Eve. On the outside world, you understand it. If you think of all the experience that this team lost from last year and the senior leadership, as they take one more peek at the clock to make sure they get the setting properly. Yeah, not just Dallas Lauderdale and not his points, but his defensive presence when Sullinger was in foul trouble. But Diebler and his shooting and Lighty and his little bit of do everything. Nobody played more games for the Buckeyes. Not having those guys, how do you get through the rough waters of a game or two here? That's going to happen during conference season.
Again, Aaron Kraft told me, he said, you know, we were entitled. He said, we felt because of those guys. And one of the things that always stuck out last year when you do an Ohio State game, and this may sound odd to people, during the shoot-around, David Lighty and John Diebler were always the first guys on the court. Now, if you've ever followed college or NBA basketball, players come into the court area, into the arena area, and sometimes it takes them 10 minutes to get going, to put their shoes on, they listen to music. Those guys got everybody going, and that was the dynamic of that team. Every team has a different dynamic, and I think the loss at Indiana changed the dynamic to a more, hey, we better play, as opposed to we're entitled, we deserve this, we can do what we want.
I think we are close to getting the clock right here. And while they do that, I just want to pass along some news earlier today from the Ohio State side. It's very sad and just tragic news. Bill Jones, Associate Athletic Director in Columbus at Ohio State, passed away today. He's an alum of Ohio State, had a heart attack, apparently, and was found ticket manager involved in such an integral part of any university at all the levels, football, basketball, all the ticketing decisions. The associate athletic director, known to every athlete and all the coaches there in Columbus. His dad, Jim, was the athletic director at Ohio State from 87 to 94, and I know it hit Thad Matta and so much of the administrative personnel at Ohio State very hard. A Columbus native, survived by his parents and his sister. Some of us got to know him, know Bill Jones, on the golf tour. He worked so well at the Memorial Tournament in the mid-90s. So our condolences to the entire Buckeye Nation and to their athletic department on that passing. Okay, clock set properly. Shot clock back on with a second-and-a-half difference. Aaron Kraft sends Sullinger away with the clock at 10.
They're going to foul here.
They've got him to use. Good aggressive play. There's no foul called on the reach. But now that time a foul was called.
It's tough to get a foul in this game.
Nanana Egwu came in and was very aggressive using that foul. And they have more fouls to give with 5.9 to go.
Now you negate that by just firing it right down on the block to Sullinger.
Kraft up past Abrams, hacking at him, knocked it away, and he's not going to get a shot off. So the aggressive defense by Illinois here in the final seconds, and Kraft wants to know, why in the world couldn't I get a shot as the half comes to an end? So they're just reminding us 10 downtime, letting us know the shot clock got shut off incorrectly. So it was reset properly by the guys. That's why we had the lengthy delay to get the shot clock set properly. And the first half finally ends. Buckeyes by 5 to Carl Ravitch and Doug Gottlieb in the studio, guys. It is Super Tuesday in the Big Ten, presented by KFC. And at halftime here in Champaign, banner honoring Lou Henson as one of the honored coaches in Illinois history, raised up with the retired jerseys. What a great ceremony. A couple of dozen players, including some from that great Flying Illini team, the Final Four team of 1989, whose wife Mary on hand and able to unfurl that banner that will remain up at the top of Assembly Hall. It was a great turnout, too, by former Illini. And that banner now up there with the first of 4 honored coaches that we remembered here in Champaign. Dan mentioned before what a great thrill it is for us to be here on this night where Coach Henson is honored. And pretty good game, too. Let's get back to it. Now, number 5, Ohio State. Illinois without its point guard. So you figure Illinois has got to take care of the ball. They've got to do a good job with the rebounding. They didn't really do good in either department, yet they're still in the game. Why?
They're hanging around because Brandon Paul got hot from the three-point line and was able to knock in 3 of them, score 15 points. Also, they've done a nice job coming to the ball defensively. What I mean by that is when the ball is driven, they've given up nothing easy. Now, when you come to the ball, create traffic in the lane, sometimes it opens up the backboard. 8 offensive rebounds for Ohio State is really why Ohio State's up in this game.
Let's get a look at the numbers from the first 20 minutes where there were no bench points scored either way. 10-4 run at the start, an 11-5 run to end the half for Ohio State. Doug Gottlieb made a good point back in the studio with Carl. When Sullinger was out, that was the stretch when Brandon Paul got hot. They were able to go to the basket, get some outside shots down, and kept this game tight going to the second half.
Well, you know, what's going to happen here is for Illinois, they're going to have to play in half court. To win big games in league play, you have to be able to execute at half court. Illinois has really struggled with it. This is where Ohio State wants to go, the All-American William Buford.
Buford knocks down the shot. He has 8 points to start this second half, a 7-point Ohio State lead. DJ Richardson was left free for a second. He works with Brandon Paul, Casey Abrams, Joe Bertrand, who was so good in the last game, and Miles Leonard, the 5 on the floor for Bruce Weber. And on the turnover, Sullinger will take it himself.
You just never throw a soft pass in the Big Ten from the side.
Well, the effect of the 7-footer flying out there altered the release, but nobody was there to get Sullinger, and now it's the largest lead of the night for the Buckeyes, up 9.
You're exactly right, Mike. So Leonard came out to contest a shot, and nobody helped his teammate. Nobody helped Leonard. They've already, in this possession here, shown without a point guard because Leonard was open on the right block and the ball wasn't brought to him to start this possession.
Sophomore on sophomore, star on star. Leonard over Sullinger, misfires. And Lenzel Smith comes to get it for Ohio State. There's danger here for Illinois out of the locker room. Kraft finds space, knocks it down, and 6 quick for Ohio State.
Secondary break. Secondary break means not your primary break where you take it to the basket, but where you make something happen without setting up. Illinois wasn't able to, Ohio State was.
Bad shot, good shot. Brandon Paul knocked down the 3.
What are you doing? Good shot. He just feels it. You can tell by his personality, by his body language, he just feels like he's making if he's shooting.
Junior from Illinois could have a career night. His career high is 23. First miss of the half for the Buckeyes is cleaned up. Deshaun Thomas send 1. They'll have a chance for the 3-point play. And Dan, they have so many answers and so many guys who can get you in a quick sequence like this.
Well, you're going to see Deshaun Thomas here just slide to the rim. Bertrand doesn't block out, and the guy behind him, DJ Richardson, in coaching parlance, you call that Richardson has to go jump on Thomas's head. He has to get in there to where, if nothing else, Richardson knocks the basketball out of bounds to the Orange Crush, but he stood and watched. Thomas was physically stronger than Bertrand.
11-point lead for Ohio State. 15-2 on the season. Tough move and a good finish by Tracy Abrams, the freshman out of Mount Carmel High School in Chicago. And he's getting heavy minutes because of Maniscalco not being in the lineup. This is great experience for the 6'1 Abrams. Sloppy feet inside. Kraft and Sullinger weren't on the same page. Illinois ball.
When you watch college basketball night after night after night, simple post feeding is something kids just don't do well. Kraft probably as good as any in the country, but there he got lazy, didn't take the ball to a better angle, threw it away.
Abrams trapped and traveled. Good defense by Ohio State. Why do you think that art, which is a very basic, simple, starting at the high school level art, feeding a big guy, why is that deteriorating?
I coach AAU basketball, and we have a kid named Mark Donnell who's going to go play at Michigan. And we like to throw him the ball. So we work on it just because we have a big kid and we don't have others. When you play against other AAU teams, nobody post feeds the ball. And if they do, they just lob it up because the kid's bigger and more athletic. That's where it starts.
Lost by Smith off the mark. Comes Illinois with Paul. Leonard wanted it in there, looking for it. And he's talking back to Paul. Said, I had him on my back.
He should. He should tell Paul, because that's twice early in this half. He's missed it.
Oh, 3 great saves. Paul threw it off of Buford out of bounds. It'll stay down here with Illinois. Good hustle by the Illini. They come back to that point. Talk about the lost art of feeding the post.
Yeah.
Do you think it's because so many of the talented kids aren't playing with their back to the basket? They want to face up and play so you don't have the guy in the hole to throw it to?
I think there's a number of factors. It's all body shots. You know, not one's the absolute reason. Another reason, you watch the NBA, how they feed the post. They throw it up in the air to a post guy. Rarely do you see an NBA player dribble it below the foul line, take it, snap it, knee into the post. And kids see that. So you'll see so many lob passes into the post in college basketball. It's just no good.
Interesting point. Something to watch as you watch games. Paul is tied up. Finally, the foul called by Ted Valentine on Smith. You know, they let the guys play physically, and there's a point here, and we're getting close to that point where it's going to have to tighten up with the whistles.
But it's a refreshing change from the Indiana-Ohio State game of New Year's Eve, where it was just every ticky-tack foul ruined the flow of the game.
Leonard powers in on Sullinger.
Myers Leonard growing up.
And game to game. You watch him all year, right?
Yep. This was a big test, and he's answered the bell.
He's got 10. Ohio State lead is 7. 3:40 gone by here. Illinois has won 13 straight here in Assembly Hall. All 10 that they've played this year. It hadn't been pretty. The fans weren't happy. Dan told you earlier they were booing the offense in the game Saturday against Nebraska. Deshaun Thomas too strong. Every time Illinois is on the ropes, they come back with a little bit of an offensive surge. Bertrand.
He's clever.
That's a good word. He's clever when he gets around the basket. He really is. It's 5. Here come the Orange Crush. 6 in a row. Good defense waiting for Sullinger. Lost the handle. That's why there's no travel. But it's a turnover. Here comes Paul. 3 for Richardson. Got them all! William Buford across the lane. Bailed out by Thomas and a foul call. Well, it starts with an Ohio State surge. Illinois responds.
Well, it started right here. Bertrand just clever. Just stop and start, up and under. Really nice move.
You're watching ESPN, the home court of Big Ten hoops.
Yep, with 14 to go, Mike.
All right, great game, Little Apple. Thanks, guys. Hey, Twitter, you can join the conversation. Dan's Twitter handle is @DanDockich, or you can use the ESPN handles. And CC9827 wanted to know, Dan, what does Bruce Weber need to do this year to get to the NCAA tournament?
Well, he's got to win games. This is going to sound silly, but this is a big game here. Obviously, a resume game. You're sitting 14-3. You've beaten Gonzaga. And as you really go through it, not much else. So this is a huge game. Getting Maniscalco back would not hurt either. And to make the NCAA tournament, Myers Leonard has to bring it like this every single night. If he does, they can beat anybody.
Well, after tonight, they have 8 days off. Play again on the 19th at Penn State. And they feel that rest will help Maniscalco, who had bone spurs in that ankle, the point guard, taken care of last year. And they think he'll be as healthy as possible for the tight couple of games a week stretch run as the grind of winter sets in.
Yeah, they're trying to make sure that he's good for the rest of the season. So, no, fortunately for them, they won the games he was out.
Sullinger backing in. Been a while since we've had a Buckeye field goal. About a 3.5-minute drought. Ending with that hoop, and it's 52-46. Ohio State.
Excuse me, Mike. People that say, well, there's no low post game. Watch this game. Because this game, the last 4 or 5 minutes, has been strictly about throwing the ball on the block and figuring it out from there.
Richardson got the step on Smith, and the recovering defense is going to bring him to the line. Fouled in the act, they say, by Kraft. As we look over at that Ohio State bench, Thad Matta's got a pretty good old Buckeye in his day sitting right there to Thad's left, right of your screen. Chris Gent, assistant coach, spent a lot of time during my NBA travels around Chris when he was working with the Miami Heat, with the Cleveland Cavaliers, I should say, and LeBron James. LeBron loved having Chris around, spoke very highly of him. And Chris back at the place where he made his basketball name in college.
Well, he played with great players. Jimmy Jackson, Treg Lee, Mark Baker, Carter, and I can't remember Carter's first name off the top of my head, but he was a big, strong kid playing out of Maine Central Institute. And Chris Gent was a guy that guarded the best, made big shots, and was just tougher than heck. And as you said, doing a terrific job both in the NBA and now at Ohio State.
I showed with Greg Paulus, former Duke point guard, who then played one semester of football at Syracuse and started quarterback. He's doing the video coordinating work now for Ohio State on that bench as well. I said, you got to pull out some Chris Gent video. Put it in black and white. Let them think Gent's really old. Sullinger got the double as he spun to the baseline, and that foul was called.
Smart by Ohio State. Sullinger had just scored. They whipped the ball around a little bit, went right back down on the block to him.
Bertrand has 2. Team fouls, 3 on Illinois, 2 on Ohio State. 6:15 into this second half. Sullinger wants space. Good job, Leonard, to knock it away. Do you like his defense, Dan?
Yeah, I really like his defense. He's playing with his chest. He's not playing with his arms. He's not extending. He's playing with his chest and his hips. It's something that Bruce Weber worked on. Ohio State needs to put Buford on the same side or Thomas on the same side, post-feeding Sullinger, because the man, in this case Richardson, is helping off onto Sullinger. No room.
That was a nice post feed from Kraft. And it's going to go the other way. They call Sullinger for the offensive foul. And what a defensive effort it's been with Miles Leonard inside here tonight.
Well, you're going to see Miles Leonard just behind Sullinger. Help comes a little bit, but Leonard just holds his ground. That's an easy call. Anytime an offensive player lowers his shoulder, that is the easiest call a referee has to make.
2 fouls here on Sullinger, 13-12 mark. Nobody on the floor, nobody in the game with 3 fouls. Not an issue right now. Bad pass, here goes Buford.
Illinois is running a little side ball screen, Mike. And Ohio State's playing it really well. It's called push down. They're keeping the ball in the same spot. And when Leonard rotated down to the basket, Buford was right there in position in the middle of the lane.
Out of the corner, another 3 for Brandon Paul. What a game he's having here tonight. 21 for Paul. How about 5 3-pointers for Brandon Paul? A guy who can be best described at times as uneven has been on it here tonight. Buford's man fell down, but he missed the shot. Thomas got the rebound. And had it knocked away by Paul. Every time the Buckeyes threaten to run away, Illinois pulls them back. Paul feeling it. Gonna do it again. Oh, yeah! Career high 24 for Brandon Paul. 1-point game. Richardson almost forced the turnover. Kraft will get it to Sullinger. The double comes. Went quick to the baseline. Rebound Bertrand. Illinois last led a minute into the game. To Leonard. Facing, taking. I believe. Kraft pitched it out. Smith, no. How about this Illinois team? So good in this building. Dad's going to need a timeout if this one goes down. Paul got fouled. He's going to have 3 free throws coming as Kraft hit him in the act. Under 11 timeout. On their feet in Champaign with Lou Henson in the house and honored. Illinois playing like a very good team tonight. Yep, Murray State sitting down there 16-0 here. Number 5 of the country, Ohio State, seeing Brandon Paul out of Gurnee, Illinois, and Warren High School put up a career night. 24 points. Cliff Sr. and Linda, his parents, are enjoying watching their son put on a 3-point shooting exhibition. 6 threes, Dan Dockich, to tie a career high. And he's going to have 3 free throws here at the line.
And hasn't reacted at all. He came into this game expecting to do this. Has been struggling a little bit with his shooting, but not tonight. You see his you see his mom and dad. There is nothing better than watching your kids doing well. Nothing in the world, in my opinion, compares to sitting there watching your son have a night like tonight.
You mentioned that's Cliff Sr. Cliff Jr. attended Illinois. Younger brother Darius Sr. on the same Warren High School basketball team where Paul starred. Dad served in the Navy, police officer, mom financial planner. And they're watching their son help Illinois to its largest lead of the night as we get close to the halfway mark of the second half here, starting the Big Ten week in style here in Champaign.
Mike, I thought as much as anything during that stretch, Ohio State looked tired.
Good bounce and a take by Thomas, and his aggressiveness to the basket will bring some free throws. Thursday night on ESPN, see a team that's playing some very good defense in Virginia. Taking on Seth Curry and Duke. That's the second game of our doubleheader. Virginia only allowing 50.5 points. Tony Bennett's got a terrific senior forward in Mike Scott, the reigning ACC Player of the Week. And take on Duke and Wisconsin, Purdue on the front end of that on ESPN.
Smart play by Deshaun Thomas to kind of stop the energy in the building by getting fouled. He's a kid that will settle for a jump shot, but very determined from the the right wing, getting it into the lane, getting fouled.
The foul was on the big man Leonard, just the second on the Illinois 7-footer.
Like, to win this game, Illinois is going to have to execute in half court, and they're going to have to do that right there, play from inside out.
With the catch and the turn, tough release as he got bodied out by Sullinger, but kept alive inside by Paul, who's going to come again to the line.
Illinois is just playing harder. Illinois, on the defensive end, they're more active. On the offensive end, quicker to the ball. They're just playing harder over this last 5-minute stretch.
You know, for everybody except our pal Digger Phelps, it's too early to start talking about quality wins and on the bubble and all that stuff. But as you said, when you're getting them this time of year is important. And for Illinois, with this 8-day break after this, taking on an Ohio State team without your point guard, this is a game that, if they could get this game, it'll send them into this break so different in mindset.
That is unbelievably true. And don't think the players don't know. If we win this game, this is going to be a lot easier on us. Everybody in that staff knows it as well.
3 fouls on Kraft, who has the ball. He hasn't had the impact on the game he normally does. 8 points here tonight. Swung it around nicely. Good shot fake by Buford. But he's short on the second one, and Richardson on the board. Richardson with space and 3, and a foul beforehand. No basket. Ted Valentine had a foul on a push before the 3 by DJ Richardson.
Watch William Buford here. He was shoved off of by Leonard, and then he just clocks him. Teddy Valentine right on the call. But like, even at that, they called that foul fine, but Ohio State's transition defense to the perimeter was awful. Nobody found a shooter. I think it was Richardson for Illinois.
Foul starting to mount now. 6 on Ohio State. All the pitch. Abrams thought about launching and bring it back out to DJ Richardson. It's a young Illinois team. Big spot, handling it well here at home with 9.5 left. Left hand to clear space by Bertrand. Lucky he didn't get called. His call for carrying the ball, and that's a good call by Gerald Williams.
Mike, that's what I was talking about. To win this game, they're going to have to execute in half court. That was the first possession this entire half where Myers Leonard got out of the block. He went out, was drifting around, setting ball screens, turnover ensued.
10 of those 14 turnovers for Illinois came in the first half. Kraft stop, but a beautiful drop to Thomas. He has such a great knack for finding the smallest window to get the ball through.
You know why, Mike? Because he stays low. He and Jordan Taylor stay low. Most kids, when they get into the lane, raise up in traffic. Aaron Kraft, Jordan Taylor, they get lower. So does Burke for Michigan.
It had been, Dan, 4 minutes since the Buckeyes scored a field goal. With a good surge right out of the locker room to start this half. It has been mostly Illinois since. Nice defense by Thomas to knock it away. There's another bounce to Buford, and a great block by Paul.
That's the second one. This is the second time Brandon Paul has come out of nowhere and showed amazing athletic ability on the block. Both times were Buford.
And a little conversation continuing. It's Buford who had the foul earlier. Mom and Dad loving watching the junior Brandon Paul, the top returning scorer on this team, with great poise and leadership and points tonight, to be honest.
Mike, this is where William Buford has to get going for Ohio State. He's a kid who's, has on pace to be the all-time leading scorer in Ohio State history. What a play.
Kraft gets to the basket and finishes with the left hand.
He can finger roll, Mike. That was left hand George Gervin finger roll.
Back even at 59. Buckeyes have led most of this game until the Illinois surge here over the last 6 minutes. And Dan's been telling you about Leonard. Let's watch the 7-footer, number 12. There he is getting space on Sullinger, but nobody's there to feed him.
That's that lob pass by Lob, but look how far out he is. Doesn't matter tonight.
62% is an Ohio State team that is a very good defensive team. The opponents have only shot 39% against them all year. And turned over on good defense by the freshman Mike Henry. The under 8 timeout. The longer they lead, the more they believe. The Illini up 2 against the number 5 team. Our ESPN colleague Stephen Bardo here honoring Lou Henson, part of that '89 team. Remember, they were known as the Flying Illini, some of the great offensive finishers and blockers as well over the years. But those Nick Anthony, Kenny Battle, Kendall Gill. I was at this game in Minneapolis. This was a regional final dance, Syracuse taking on Minnesota, and it was one of the most athletic games I remember. It was tight throughout. What a great collection of athletes on the floor during this entire game. Illinois won it, getting to the Final Four in 1989. That's one of the reasons Lou Henson's being honored as one of the honored coaches in Illinois history.
The Flying Illini became the Flying Illini because of that guy right there. Yep. When Kenny Battle transferred from Northern Illinois, it changed the entire look of Illinois basketball because of his athleticism.
A great group, many here to honor their former coach tonight and inspire a new generation of Illinois players. Leading by 2, 7:20 to go. Myles Leonard trying to protect the ball, had nothing going there. Sullinger all over him. Shot clock at 8. Paul's been the hot man. A heat check there with the clock running down, and Ohio State will have a chance to tie or retake the lead. Buford comfortably in. I love the speed he moves at. He's always under control, and he squares the game at 61.
He's a senior. He was talked to by Paul. So always interesting to see how guys respond after a guy kind of goes after him verbally in a basketball game.
The one senior on this Ohio State team that has had a little leadership. Oh, that's a too frustrated player trying to do it on his own, and Leonard called for the turnover, the travel.
He made 2 jump shots from 15 feet, and those were open, those were easy. He can't go try and make plays. What I'm saying, they have to execute at half court, and the majority of the time, all the time, it has to be Leonard on the block.
Sam Thompson out there, Sullinger getting a break. as Ohio State's taking a chance for the lead with Buford out of the corner, 4-3. So William Buford puts back-to-back field goals together, and Ohio State retakes the lead.
Has to be. Has to be. When you're a senior with as much experience, he's won 100 games in his career, has to be the guy down the stretch here for Ohio State.
9.5, and great defense again by Buford. He's out of bounds. It's Illinois ball, but the Ohio State players and coaches give a nod to Buford for his hustle.
Mike, you mentioned it, and we've talked about it from the start of the game. Sam Maniscalco out of the game because of an injury. The point guard for Illinois, fine. They got running, they got finding in transition, they got back in the game, but to win it, you got to play half-court offense, you got to handle the ball, and you got to make plays at the end of a clock.
Ball with the shot clock at 8. Thompson getting in the defensive stance. Lob toward the basket. Leonard couldn't collect that. Too tough a catch. Here comes Ohio State again. And Dan said it all night. Lack of organization on the offensive end at times for Illinois. And Buford couldn't hit a third field goal in a row, but another chance. Finds the flying Thompson, who stays in the air but couldn't convert. That guy's had some unbelievable dunks already this season. Leonard wanted the ball, and Bruce Weber's going to call a timeout because they're not recognizing their big guy.
Yeah, great timeout because Leonard was fighting on the block, and the perimeter was covered. Going to be a steal if he didn't call a timeout.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is presented by KFC. Bring something different to the party with KFC sauceless hot wings. Now just 50 cents each. And in part by Hyundai. If it's fuel efficient, affordable, stylish, and safe, it's probably a Hyundai.
Well, not just a best scoring night in the career of Brandon Paul, also a few blocks, but Ohio State has taken a couple of punches here on the road. They lead by 3. Show me the frustration of a young, emerging big man.
Well, Myers Leonard had hit a couple shots, one from both baselines from 15 feet, and now he forgot who it was. Took the ball to the basket. Now here you're going to see frustration running the floor, and we've talked about it all night. A point guard who was used to playing point guard would have found him there, and numerous other times, by the way, because Myers Leonard is completely attuned to this game, whether it's on offense, defense, or in transition. He's upped his level.
And as coach Bruce Weber said when asked yesterday by the local media about the matchup of sophomores and really good centers in Leonard and Sullinger, he said Leonard needs to observe Sullinger and learn how to play with poise when a double team comes, when the pressure happens. Sullinger's been the star guy before. Leonard not at this level. You're watching the process happen. Off the curl, Richardson knocks down a 3. And we're on leaving at 64 at the 5-minute mark. Good stuff out of the Big Ten tonight. It's been like that the first 2 weeks of the conference year. Illinois hit 9 3-pointers tonight. Kraft finds Thompson. Pitched it out to Thomas. Off the heel shot. Richardson the rebound for Illinois.
See if they go back to the same set, which was a baseline cross with Richardson and either Bertrand or Paul here. Here comes Bertrand crossing.
Thought about the shot, didn't like it. Back to Paul with Sam Thompson watching him. See if that good athlete can slow Paul down. Shot clock at 10. Paul thinking about going right. Clock down at 4. Gonna have to be a quick one. Abrams. Sullinger to rebound Ohio State. We hit the 4-minute mark.
Half-court offense. You have to be able to play late clock to win big games.
This guy knows what to do. The point guard Kraft. Rotate the ball. Leonard uses his size. I don't think he fouled Sullinger when he knocked it away, do you?
I don't, but I will tell you this. In 20-some years of watching college basketball, that's the first time I haven't seen that called as a foul regardless of contact.
Timeout, under 4 and all even.
News.
All right, Carl, thank you. We look forward to that. Great finish here in Champaign, all tied at 64. Let's go back to this side out coming up.
Well, you want to see how not to post me? Watch William Buford here. Jared Sullinger's heels are in the lane. He's ready to go, but a lob, high post feed. Look where Sullinger would have to catch the ball if the pass was completed. You got to go knee to knee. Throw it from your knees, hit the offensive player in the knees.
Buford curls inside. Let Leonard commit to the jump. And on the rebound, Deshaun Thomas put it back in, and Ohio State leads by 2.
Movement without the ball. William Buford is terrific at moving without the ball. His curl cut created help, which opened the weak side backboard.
Brandon Pauls had the hot hand. Bertrand, the drive man, offensive foul, going to go the other way. Ted Valentine has it as Thomas draws the contact. 3rd foul.
That's a good call. That's a really good call. I thought that Thomas had his shoulders squared. You're going to see off movement, the drive. Bertrand driving, puts his shoulder into Thomas. Somebody's going to say, well, his feet were moving. Look, when you put your shoulder down, referee's going to call a charge.
Kraft leaving for Buford. And a lot of talented Ohio State players who have closed tight games. Thompson staying on the floor here down the stretch. Sullinger wanted it that time, didn't get it. Shot clock at 10. Leonard physical with Sullinger. Didn't let him set a screen. It's going to be Thompson for 3. Off the mark. Ball squirts out to Paul. It's Thompson's first shot of the night. Paul on the take. What a release. Thompson came down hard. And a foul will send Paul to the line with 2:42 to go.
What athletic ability in this game.
I love the way that guy Thompson jumps. Tomorrow night, ESPN2 going to bring you undefeated Syracuse, one of the 3 undefeated teams in the country. Scoop Jardine going home to Philly to take on Villanova. Texas A&M, Texas. That's your lineup. With that Watch ESPN app as well. If you're not by your TV, Paul to the line. 29. We have had an odd game tonight. Not one player off the bench has scored a point for either team. Only starters have scored here this evening.
Well, that's not unusual for a Thad Matta team. Thad Matta, legendary for playing 6 or 7 guys, but you think somebody would score.
One team, give you one, exactly.
Well, this ball's got to go to the post, either Sullinger or Thomas.
Buford looked for Sullinger. Stats aren't going to show what a good job Leonard did on Sullinger defensively tonight. Trying to break our 8th tie of the night. Thompson rotates it to Buford. Tied up. Good defense taken away. Bertrand did the job. It's Illinois for the lead. Bruce Weber calling out the play he wants as the clock dies under 2. DJ Richardson. Hall for 3 and the lead. Paul obliterating his career high of 23. He has 33 of the Illinois 69 here tonight.
Well, they've run this little crossing action. You're going to see Paul just crossing the floor. Thompson has to just chase him. But he gets caught up on a really nice screen by Myers Leonard, and Paul has knocked it out from that corner all night long.
He's 2 points away from 35. The last time an Illinois player had 35 in a game, Kevin Turner against Indiana in '98. How about that one? 69, 66, 145 to go. An Illinois player in a long time since scoring 35. Sullinger goes inside, got the bang in the bucket, and a chance for a 3-point play.
Well, Ohio State may lose this game, but they got to lose it going to Jared Sullinger. This ball just needs to go on the block, and if Leonard can continue his good defense, they're going to win the game. If he can't, Sullinger's going to do things like this. But this ball, Buford's not going, Kraft not going. You got to just throw it to Sullinger and let Thomas clean up the weak side backboard.
3rd foul on the 7-footer for Illinois, and it'll bring Ohio State to the line with Sullinger a chance to tie the game. guy who knows it's like to wear the Buckeye uniforms in tight Big Ten games. Jared's brother, J.J. Sullinger. But Dan, every week on Twitter, now we're in the heart of the Big Ten season. You promised on Sunday night, you're a little tardy this week. I was in New Orleans waiting for it, didn't get it. You're going to send out your index, and you need to explain how you're ranking the teams week to week.
Well, I'm just ranking by who played well, and I do it Sunday nights. I was a little tardy. Illinois with 2 wins. You get 2 wins in the Big Ten during the week, you're fine. Michigan lost at Indiana. Nothing wrong with that. Came back and beat Wisconsin. Michigan State has just been rolling tonight. Unbelievable. So, I mean, Indiana and Ohio State.
Spun it out. You're seeing 2 of the better teams in the Big Ten. If there was a question about a 5th team, Illinois was the team I think people questioned. You like the way they were playing, winning without their point guard. Here they are tonight, minute and a half away from knocking off number 5 at home. Paul off the curl. What a move to the basket. Coming to the free throw line.
Just smart. Just movement without the ball in a dead sprint. That is so difficult for young kids to understand. Cutting is sprinting, and Brandon Paul came flying off of a down screen on the left side and used the fact that he has been making shots by shot faking and taking it to the basket.
34 of the 70. Again, Kevin Turner scored 35 for Illinois against Indiana in 1998. Last time an Illini player has scored 35 or more in a game.
That was the first year I was gone from Indiana, so the scouting was a little
What a night. He's got almost half the points against number 5 in the country. 1:20 to go. Kraft finds Thomas inside. 1-point game.
Kraft just went faster.
They wanted a timeout. They got it. Thad Matta wanted the timeout, and Ted Valentine, the trail official out at midcourt, saw it before Illinois could get the quick inbounds. So the timeout comes with 77 seconds to go.
Smart play by Aaron Kraft. You know, you're down 3, plenty of time. He just went harder than anybody on Illinois' team. Stayed low and found Thad Matta. Well, Brandon Paul has just been sensational. I mean, doing it from the left corner. Both halves, first half left corner, second half left corner. What I've really liked about him is he has moved without the basketball. You know, a lot of times games get bogged down into ball screening, but Brandon Paul has crossed the court. He has 35 points, 20 in the second half, and has done it with terrific composure.
And has hit 7 3-pointers as part of that run. 7 for 9 shooting the 3 here. He's made 7 of 22 threes coming in to tonight in his last 4 games.
Thad Matta, good move here. He brought Lenzel Smith Jr. into the game to defend. He's had Thompson in the game, too much inexperience, and by bringing Smith Jr. in, he is able to put his best defender, Kraft, on Brandon Paul.
Illinois by 1 with the ball. Possession arrow pointing their way in case we have a tie-up. At the final minute of the second half, clock stops after a made basket. 15, nothing going on for Illinois. Will they let Paul do it? He's watched by Kraft. They're clearing space. Paul shut off. Abrams has it with the clock at 5 and at 4. Abrams gallops to the basket, and Bruce Weber took a timeout. Took a timeout with 4 on the shot, just under 46 on the game clock. And a 1-point lead.
Well, Bruce Weber called timeout because the ball was in a freshman's hands and going nowhere. That shot would have been a flying, leaping leaner from the right side at about 10 feet. Great timeout by Bruce Weber.
And where they got the timeout, where the ball was, Dan, I think it was beneath the free throw line, so I think it's going to be a baseline out of bounds.
It'll be baseline out of bounds as you're facing the basket to the right.
So Dan, again, I know if you've been watching all night, we've beat over the head Maniscalco, the point guard, being out. But one thing Bruce Weber said yesterday about that, he said, I just wish I had Maniscalco even to inbound the ball in a couple of sequences against Nebraska the other day, because I've got young guys. I just want to make sure it goes to the right spot. Of the time to screw up a pass, only 4 on the shot.
Because there'll be a couple options here. There'll be some screen-to-screener action with probably Paul coming to the baseline ball side. But out of that, the second screener will be Myers-Leonard. So Myers-Leonard will have the opportunity to slip the screen. You either throw it down to him, you can slip it down, or you throw it up to the biggest kid on the court, Myers-Leonard.
The officials are going to look to see when the timeout came to make sure that the timing is correct here with 45.9 to go. This happened earlier. It took a while.
It wouldn't be a half of college basketball without an official at the monitor.
They're also looking for the placement of the ball and where it's going to be, and now it's going to end up being inbounded over here on the sideline, I believe, and not the baseline. Mike Kitts is telling Bruce Weber that. And that's kind of interesting. You spend your whole timeout designing something for a baseline out of bounds, and then at the end of the timeout, okay, you're going to have it over here in front of our bench. Very different for a coach drawing a play right there.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That is, particularly with 4 seconds left. You'll still see Leonard setting a second screen and having a slip opportunity. I hope you see Thad Matta talking to Mike Kitts, but I would hope that they're giving Illinois extra time. Yeah, because of that miscalculation by the official.
Well, shouldn't Thad be able to get his guys back and do the same thing?
They're trying to do that right now. Jeff Bowles, outstanding assistant at Ohio State, getting these guys together.
Mike Kitts taking him back to his spot. He's going to let his players go there.
Thad wanted to do it at half court. He didn't want to do it by the bench.
It's a re-timeout. But again, you know, and you've drawn plays for years in the huddle. That difference, especially with 4 on the shot, is massive.
It's massive. So now, from the side out of bounds, you want to run something, again, bringing the ball, bringing Paul or whomever you'd like, baseline side off of Leonard. So you have Leonard on the block, ball side, and then you'll see somebody come to the top of the key to attempt to receive the ball as well.
See on the reset. Foul equals free throw here. Here we go with the inbounds. DJ Richardson looking. Paul. He's got a hoist. It's a 3 on the way. Oh, he hit it! Are you kidding me? What a 3 by Paul! 4-point Illinois lead. Buckeyes got to go quick here now. Sullinger across the lane. Oh, knocked it away. This is your night, Brandon Paul. The junior is carrying his team. Timeout, Ohio State. Can't wipe the smile off of Dad and Mom's face.
Oh, you can't. It's impossible. You want me to break this 3 down? Here it is. You're hot. You're 7 for 9 from 3. Just launch it. It's going to go.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I mean, great defense. Look at Kraft all over him. Hand right up in the face. But when you're rolling, you're rolling. And Brandon Paul, 3rd time he has done this. 3rd time he's come out of nowhere from help side and knocked the ball away from the Buckeyes out of bounds.
38 points for Paul. It is the most scored by an Illinois player since Andy Kaufman went for over 40 back in 1990. Bargain mistake by Illinois. It's a 2-possession game. Ohio State needs something quick. Not necessarily a 3, but Kraft couldn't get it inbounds. Had to call his last time out. And now maybe you think a little bit differently with 30 seconds left.
Well, that was a jumbled out-of-bounds play. You know, same thing that Illinois ran. You run a guy off the baseline, off of Sullinger, whoever you would like. Thomas probably will be the guy, or Buford. And you have the option of throwing it to the corner, or you have the option of looking at Sullinger. And while you're doing that, one of the, again, either Buford or Thomas breaks to the top of the key. So you have an option in the corner, an option at the post, and an option at the top of the key. Now, where the ball is, you probably want Thomas being the guy that cuts to the corner, because you're going to receive, as opposed to the top of the key, because the man receiving the ball at the top of the key is going to have a drive right, and Thomas is a left-handed player. So look for Buford to go to the top of the key, Thomas to run to the corner off of Sullivan.
Some perspective on the night for Brandon Paul. He has equaled the 8th best individual scoring night in Illinois history with 38 points. Dave Downey back in '63 had a 53-point game. But I mentioned we haven't seen the likes of a game scoring like this Deon Thomas had a 39-pointer in '91. Andy Kaufman had a couple of games in his career right around 1990, over 40. But incredible night against number 5 here at home. Out of timeouts, the Buckeyes. Kraft with the inbound knocked away. Stays with Ohio State. Underneath the basket, they'll inbound it with 29.5 to go.
They set a little back screen for Thomas, and he was open. Kraft just delivered the ball a little late.
Sullinger trying to go right to the basket strong. 2-point game. Ohio State, no timeouts with the clock off. Maybe a trap, then a foul. Miles Leonard will call a timeout. 26.4 to go, so Illinois down and out of timeouts.
Bruce Weber, when he saw Myers Leonard had the ball, taking it inbounds, was at half court screaming for a timeout because of all the guys maybe in this building that you don't want it taken out is Myers Leonard.
I'd like to lob it to you, 7-footer, not have you do the lobbing.
Right. 7-foot decision-making, 94 feet away from a basket is never good.
Again, you know, you pull back from the excitement and the enjoyment of the night. Lou Henson being honored tonight. What a great win it would be for Illinois to have their legendary all-time winningest coach on hand for a victory like this. But we're only here in the first couple of weeks of January. We're not even a quarter of the way fully through a conference season. But what would a win like this mean for Illinois over number 5 Ohio State?
A couple things. It would obviously boost their standing, but I think more than that, it would prove to Illinois that they can play with anybody. And more importantly, it would prove to Myers Leonard that he's as good as anybody. And once a kid learns that, the sky's the limit for a kid with that much talent.
Paul can run the baseline. It's out of bounds off a made basket. Got it to Bertrand. See the Buckeyes go for a trap and a foul. They didn't get the one they wanted there. And Paul's going to come to the line as Sullinger has to give his 4th foul. So Paul will get a chance to have the 6th 40-plus point game in Illinois basketball history.
Well, Mike, Bertrand's an 85% free throw shooter, and that's all good, but he doesn't have the experience, and he's not rolling like Paul. Ohio State better serve to just foul Bertrand when he received the ball in the inbound.
Paul's 8 of 9 from the line. If he makes both, it's a 2-possession game. Got the front end. 9 of 10 at the line tonight.
Regardless, make or miss, I think if you're Ohio State, you put the ball in Kraft's hands, spread Thomas and Buford, and just take the ball at the rim and play out of that, but you got to get points.
One of the great nights of the season, Brandon Paul, a 40-point night. No timeouts, 2-possession game, unless Illinois makes a silly mistake. Kraft lost it on the side. Illinois got it. And the foul given with 11.4 to go. And Cliff Sr. and Linda, mom and dad, have been sitting down at this end, at this basket, and they have watched their son put on a second-half show.
That's the coolest 2 people in the building, Mike. Everybody else is flipping out, and those 2 guys whose son is just killing it.
Dad's military.
Okay,
He's got
but
it
what
under
about
control.
Mom? That's awesome.
4th highest scoring game in Illinois history by a player, 41 points. Chance to equal Dave Scholl's 1968 with the 3rd highest scoring game in Illinois history if this one goes down. How about a 42-point night for the junior from Gurnee, Illinois, Brandon Paul. Kraft, they'll let him have it. 5.9 to go. Lead is 4. Illinois out of timeouts. Be careful, it's taken away. But the foul was called before the giveaway.
Now the question becomes, Mike, Orange Crush is not here. It's an older Orange Crush. It's a veteran Orange Crush. Will they rush the floor?
The students are on break.
Right.
Yeah, they don't come back till next Tuesday.
Right. So I'm over here asking these guys, are you going? Average age is about, what, 55?
It would be a slow walk. They wouldn't storm the court. Alone for the number 3 all-time scoring game in Illinois history, 43 points. Only Andy Kaufman against Wisconsin-Milwaukee in 1990 and Dave Downey against Indiana in 63 have scored more points as an individual than Paul, who's got 43. It's a 5-point game as the clock runs down. Kraft's three is off. Illinois knocks off number 5 Ohio State. What a win for the Illini. And here come the folks who are here to celebrate this victory. The Buckeyes lose for the 3rd time this season. They lost at Kansas without Jared Sullinger by 16. And they lost at Indiana on New Year's Eve by 3, 74-71. And then after dominant wins over Nebraska and at Iowa, come to Illinois, and without their senior point guard, Sam Maniscalco. Great comeback to start the second half, and a game for the Illinois record books by Brandon Paul. 43 of the 79 on a night that Lou Henson is honored. The all-time winningest coach has his banner put to the rafters, and one for the record books from Paul. With Dan Dockich, Mike Tirico, SportsCenter's next. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports.